Today I am installing this 6-inch inline duct fan in a small computer room here at my wife's clinic, and just wanted to do a little video about it. Thought it might help some people. This is the Terra Bloom 6-inch inline duct fan, and it has a couple of controls here right on the top, and the way this fan works is you set a temperature. There you can see it goes between 70 and 95 degrees Fahrenheit, and you set a fan speed, and when the temperature rises above the set point, the fan goes to full speed until the air temperature goes back to the set point, and then the fan reduces back to the setting, the speed setting you have on that right hand knob. So you can see here, if I turn the speed up here, it gets a little bit louder, but it's really not that loud. I think these fans would mostly be installed in attics or in basements, that kind of thing. So it would be kind of loud to use in a room, I would think, but for attic or basement, something like that, it would be fine, or outside. So for my application, I'm going to keep it set at about the halfway point. And again, what I'm doing is I'm installing this fan in line in an air conditioning duct, an intake vent, that's going to pull air out of a small computer room, which I'll show you in a minute. So even if the AC is not running, this fan is going to pull hot air out of the top of that computer room and pull cooler air in from the outside to keep the room cool. This fan seems extremely well made. I think I could probably stand on this fan without hurting it. The metal is pretty heavy gauge metal, and this main section here is insulated. Of course, you attach the 6-inch ducts to either end, but this section here in the middle is insulated, and it draws 67 watts, 0.55 amps, and seems really high quality. To give you an idea how much air this fan moves, I've got this plastic bag here, and the fan's at full speed right now. So you can see at full speed, it's moving quite a bit of air. But again, for my application, I'm going to have it set about halfway. So most of the time it'll be running at this speed. Only if the room temperature gets very hot. I'm going to set the temperature setting to about 85 degrees or maybe 80 degrees. So the fan will only kick on to full speed if it gets above 80 degrees, let's say. But then otherwise it'll run at this speed continuously. The fan's rated for 72,000 hours continuous run time, which works out to roughly about 10 years. So you can run this fan continuously for about 10 years. They do recommend you clean the fan about every 6 months, but I'm going to install some filter material on the intake of the vent, so hopefully that'll prevent most of the dust from getting to the fan itself and cut down on the maintenance a little bit, because I really don't want to crawl up in the attic and clean this thing out every 6 months. Although, as you can see from the construction, it would be very easy to clean. You just unplug the fan and run a duster or vacuum inside the fan here. I'll go ahead and turn the fan off and show you the intake side. And there's the intake fan. Sorry for the poor lighting quality, but thought you might want to see what it looks like installed. This 6-inch duct was already in place. I put that in last weekend. It goes over to an intake vent over there in the computer room, which I'll show you in a minute. And the unit is on right now, and it's attached to the main intake for the HVAC system. It took about 10 or 15 minutes to install. You just cut back the insulation a little bit, slip the inner sleeve over the end of the inline fan, and then I use these 3-foot long zip ties to attach the duct to the fan. And I actually used 2 zip ties, one on the inside sleeve and then a second one on top of the insulation, just to make sure everything is tightly affixed. I don't have any sort of sealant on the ducts, but I felt around the joints there, and there's no air leaking, so I feel pretty good about it. Okay, so this is the little computer room that I'm cooling, and you can see I've installed the little filter up there on the intake vent, and I'm going to put the cover on in just a minute. But that's a little custom filter you can cut to fit. And then I put a little wire frame up there to keep the filter from being sucked into the vent. And then another thing I had to do as part of this work is I had to cut a little bit off the bottom of this door. I have about 1 inch of space there to allow air to be sucked into this room and up through the vent. The fan is on right now, and when I close the door and put my hand down on the floor, I can feel the air being sucked in, so it's working perfectly. So I'll put the vent cover back on, and I'll be done. Okay, and there's the vent cover back on, and we're going to call the job complete. I'm going to put links below to all the materials I used for this project. I'm really happy with the way it turned out, and I'm sure that that room will be well ventilated now.